Megan Hicks of I Run Far, and we're here on the side of a mountain above Badia Prataglia, Italy, a couple days before the 2007 IAU Trail World Championships. I'm with the USA's Megan Roche. Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I actually just had the strongest Italian coffee, so I'm like all pumped up and ready to go.
Yeah, we just drank a ton of coffee, and you guys had some intercontinental travel yesterday, and now you're amped up on caffeine, so I think this is going to be a high-speed interview.
I know, we're going to have to run it on like 0.6 speed so viewers can follow along.
We're going to slow down the interview. So you are somebody who's been racing in the U.S. for quite a few years now, a couple of years, but this is literally going to be my first time watching you race.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been watching I Run Far forever, so it's like weird. It's weird to go in that direction.
Okay, so here we are in Italy. It's a couple days away from the Trail World Championships. You are not unfamiliar with the competitive racing sphere, but since this is our first time interviewing you, I'd love to get a little bit of a background on how you came to trail and now ultra running as a competitive thing.
Oh, that's awesome. So I actually played field hockey in college, so I feel like I'm well versed for kind of like the technical side of things.
Give me some rocks.
Yes, give me some dodging, some like ladder drills, all that kind of stuff. And then I switched to running track in college, and quickly decided that running circles wasn't my favorite of things.
Okay.
Though I did enjoy it, and so David got me into trail running.
Did you, so collegiately, did you compete in cross country, or you just tried track in college, or?
So I took a fifth year after playing field hockey, and did cross country indoor and outdoor. Yeah.
Okay. And you met your husband David, who's also now a trail runner in college too, and so he brought you to the dark side of trail running. Is that how it worked?
He did. I actually did a few races while I was playing field hockey. I ran under Megan Butthead as the pseudonym because I wasn't allowed to race. So I was like, they're never going to catch me, but it turns out they did. So so yeah, we grew up, David and I, running on the North Carolina trails, and that's how we got into trail running.
But now you are all over the competitive California trail running scene. How did you guys find your way to California?
So we actually went out to California for med school.
Okay.
I'm out there doing med school right now, and then in California it's impossible not to run trails because they're so beautiful and they're buttery, and like you can run fast on trails. And there's also a ton of local races there too, and so it's nice. You can hop in a local race every weekend.
Which I think you almost actually do.
Yeah, we just love it. It's a good, when you're busy during the week, like we both are, it's nice to hop into a race and use it as a workout. So we use a lot of the local races in that sense. And then you get to know the community too. It's like a catered long run with beer afterwards and a barbecue, so it's great.
I love the sound of that, a catered long run. So you're kind of a person who's of personal interest to me because you are not a one-sided creature. Like you've got a lot going on in your life. You're a med student.
Yes. Actually, I feel like for this race, it's been tough actually training. I'm in my fourth year of med school right now, and so I've been working in the ICU. I've been working night shifts, and it's been tough to kind of figure out the balance of having proper recovery and also training hard, and doing a lot of runs at 3 and 4 a.m. And so you kind of have to listen to your body and understand how you're feeling before you go out to train each day. So
the med school thing is not conducive to like any part of life. No. Like literally, like
That's
good
true.
nutrition, good sleep, having friendships, having like a marriage. Like how do you literally fit in having a marriage, having some friends, doing some training, and going to med school?
I joke with David that I really only do 3 things. One is I go to med school. The second is that I'm a wife and a puppy mom, and the third is that I'm a runner. And that's literally it. So once I get home from school, we try to go to sleep, and then wake up the next morning and run. And I try to do as many of those things with David as possible and our dog Addie. So, if he can come along on a run or just spend time together doing normal life things and appreciate that, it kind of works out well.
So we're in Italy where we have like really bad internet, so we kind of have to keep this interview short because it may never reach the rest of the world via Italy's slow upload speeds. But can you give us just like sort of a short background on your experience with competitive trail running, both nationally and internationally?
Sure. So it first started I guess, like 3 years ago, and that was when I transitioned from playing field hockey and being a track runner to trail running.
Okay.
Started doing the shorter stuff, so like the 10K trail championships and the mountain running, and then I actually entered the U.S. 50K champs.
Okay.
And that was going into that race, my longest run had been like 13 or 14 miles. So it was totally entering this like unknown world. And then have moved up in distance to like marathon and 50K from there. I'm still trying to keep things a little bit shorter. Less than 50K for now, just to preserve the top end speed and to kind of, I want to keep my trajectory and progression going forward. So I've mostly raced, just given my medical school schedule, I've mostly raced in the US, but I've done a few international races like the mountain championships and the long distance championships in Zermatt a few years ago.
And I think, I mean, this is just under 50K, but because of the extra climbing that we're going to see this weekend, this is going to be your longest race out. Is that true?
Yeah, so I did Headlands 50K in 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay.
And so I think for this race, this is definitely going to be longer than that, unless like something like a miracle happens, which I don't think is going to happen. So a lot of unknowns.
There's a chance.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. But I've actually never run with a pack before, and so this will be a whole new experience for me, as there's a lot of required gear that I'm going to need to bring with me.
So as somebody who comes from the shorter distance trail sphere, like how do you wrap your head around another, I don't know, possibly hour racing, 45 minutes racing?
My biggest thing is for racing, I have two goals. One is to smile the entire way, even if that's like through gritted teeth, and two is not to judge. And I think not judging is going to be the most important part. You know, 2 hours in when I'm tired, not thinking about that extra, just kind of rolling with the beautiful course and smiling at aid stations and just having fun out there.
Not looking at maybe your pace per mile when you're on some of those steep climbs and things slow down more than what's normal for you.
Exactly. I've learned that, you're busting it and then you look down at your watch and it's a 12-minute mile and you're like, what?
I could walk that on the flat.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's my last question for you is that, so this weekend we're going to see more climbing than what's typical on what you've been racing weekendly in Northern California. How have you been preparing your legs and stuff for that extra steep up and steep down?
In all honesty, not fantastically, to be perfectly honest with you. Actually, because I've had a really busy med school schedule, I feel like my recovery hasn't been as good, just because of that. And so I haven't been able to run the vert that I would like to. And so I think not judging is gonna be really important, and just making sure that I go out at a conservative pace early on so I don't blow my legs on the downhill. So we'll see how that goes, but that's kind of my plan for now.
Yeah, and I mean, you're somebody who's used to running a lot of your races by yourself or running around kind of the lead men. Yeah, putting yourself into this weekend's competition. I mean, you've seen at these international competitions girls in front of you, but European trail running goes out really hot.
Yes, it does.
Are you gonna strategically go out with those girls, or are you going to run your own race from the start?
I'm going to run my own race from the start. I've actually been working with racing with a heart rate monitor.
Okay.
And so it's really helpful feedback. I'm going to set my heart rate to what I know I can do. And then, I can't control who else is in the race, so I'll let them do their thing. And, if I catch back up to them or if I'm ahead of them, I'm just going to let it be.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great getting to know you for the first time after, watching you race on the internet and on paper all of these years, and best of luck to you on Saturday.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be in an I Run Far preview.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Thanks, Megan.
Okay, I think we need to drink less coffee.